Alright guys, so this is the free response question on the Chapter 5 test. And again, a couple of you guys are still, got a little confused with what this R was. Some people thought it was this whole section here. But when we read the question, it says, let R be the region in the first quadrant enclosed. Remember that word enclosed means, that it's basically closed off, sectioned off by everything that comes after. So it's what's coming in between y equals 4e to the negative x, this graph here, and y equals tangent x over 2. So now basically in between these two graphs we could have this section, this top section, all of this area over to the right, or this bottom section. But then it also says and the y-axis. So the region that's in between, closed off by those three, that's kind of like our fence, is these three, and that would have to be where the R is, which it did tell you. So it's only going to be this kind of area right there. That's where R is. So just want to make sure that's really clear because a few people messed that up. So part A says find the area of that region. So we need to use the formula area equals the integral from A to B of top minus bottom dx. And in this case, to get that endpoint, a couple people didn't do this. You really need to make sure that you set 4e to the negative x equal to tangent of x over 2. Now you can do this on the calculator section. It's the calculator section. So you could either do the solve button or you could graph these and then find the intersection. But once you do that, we get x equals 1.478. And actually, really, if you're rounding this, most of you guys said 1.478, but if you were rounding this, it was 1.4786, so it really should have been 1.479. Now, there was only one endpoint. This is going to be right here, right? So this would be 1.479. The second one, since it's the y-axis, that's x equals 0. So those are our two endpoints. So we're going to say the area is equal to, now we can just see on this graph that 4e to the negative x, that's our top. So it's the integral from 0 to 1.479 of 4e to the negative x minus tangent of x divided by 2 dx. And you could do this by hand, but I wouldn't really want to since we do have a calculator. So we'll use the calculator and then we'll get the answer. Area equals 2.483. And make sure that you're boxing this answer. You always want to make sure you're like boxing the answer, underlining it, make it easy on the reader. If you wanted to put like units squared, you could, but I just left it like this. Alright, next question was B. Find the volume of the solid generated when we revolve it around the x-axis. So it's going to be our volume formula. So pi integral from A to B. Now this, right, we're revolving this. You can see it's going to be a washer method. So this is going to be our big R. And then this would be little r. So now we have big R squared minus little r squared dx, where big R is 4e to the negative x minus 0. Little r is tangent of x over 2 minus 0. Right, minus 0 because that's where we're revolving it around, is y equals 0. Now we have the same endpoints, so we're going to have volume equals pi times the integral from 0 to 1.479 of 4e to the negative x squared minus tangent of x divided by 2 squared dx. And we write that, and then you can just write that's going to be equal to, kind of two answers were acceptable, either 7.239 pi or you could have said 22.743. And that's the one I chose because I just typed all of that into my calculator. Just in terms of points, by the way, I gave you guys 1 point for setting that equal to each other. I give you 1 point for these endpoints here, and then I gave you 1 point for having this correct. It's called the integrand, what you're integrating, and then 1 point for that final answer. So part A was worth 4 points. Part B, since you're using the same endpoint, was just worth 2 points. I gave you 1 point for having this kind of correct setup, and 1 point for the final answer. If you had chosen a different endpoint, I still gave you the point, kind of just for, again, what's going into the integral. So this was only worth 2 points. And then finally we have a C, which says the region R is the base of a solid, so we can think cross section, and it says the perpendicular is a semicircle. So in C, we need to know that the area of a semicircle is pi r squared over 2, because it's half of a circle. And then for cross section, we need to remember the formula volume equals the integral of area. Right, so in this case, right, our area is pi r squared. We need to get our radius, which, if we look back, so now we know that this is the cross section. So that right there, this line that I just drew, that's going to be kind of like our cross section. Now, a circle, right, all of these circles are kind of coming out, half circles. So this is actually going to be the diameter. So what we know is actually, I'm going to write down here that our diameter would be the top 4e to the negative x minus the bottom is tangent of x divided by 2. So the radius would be 4e to the negative x minus tangent of x divided by 2 over 2. Right, that's our radius. Now we are going to plug that into our area formula. So pi times 4e to the negative x minus tangent of x divided by 2 divided by 2, and all of that squared divided by 2. And then our endpoints remain the same from 0 to 1.479. And then you'll type that into your calculator, and our answer should be 2.373. Again, we'll box that. There's your final answer. And I gave you guys basically 2 points. Basically I give you 1 point for having this integral, 1 point for realizing that the radius you have to divide by 2, and 1 point for the final answer. So this was worth 3 points. And that's a total of 9. All AP free responses are out of 9 points. So there's that question. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this, and I'll see you in class.